what is it that you do?
All right, what is it that I do? And I actually considered this question for some time before I'd saying, I am a movement specialist. My job is to help people heal through the use of a wide array of tools. But the way I see my job is to help improve the flow of energy, to help heal injuries. Certainly resilience and building strength are part of that. They're one and the same in many regards as we build up strength. But the way I see my gift is my ability to read people in how they move. I've been doing this since I was in middle school, really my own weight set at a very young age, and started to understand what it was doing and how it was moving. And in studying the human body on many levels and observation, I'm able to pick up nuances both through intuition as well as biomechanical changes that I see as anomalies in my mind. It'll trigger a response, which then I can go into an evaluative form to help people understand what it is that is actually holding them back, because rarely is it one area working alone.
Okay, great. Yeah, I've noticed in starting to work with you, I mean, from all my experience in sports and martial arts and so forth, I feel like I'm quite an energy aware person. I am continually stunned by how subtle the energy that you pick up is just, over a FaceTime call. And because I'll be doing something and all of a sudden I'll notice that I'm holding my breath. So I'll let my breath go and you'll say, nice, good work with the breath. And I'll be doing something and you'll say, well, there's something going on. Release your right big toe. And I'm like, wow, how did you know that? And especially that when I talk about some tweak that's going on in my body, I've particularly dealt with something in my hip, one in my neck, and one in my feet. Very seldom will you actually go to work on that spot. You start working on other spots around it, and then all of a sudden magic occurs in that area. So I'd like you to address for a minute besides, everybody has a picture of somebody pulling on bands or lifting dumbbells or something like that. But I've noticed that you also work in the energy area, in the physical area, but also in the breath area, in the emotion area. So, and you call it quantum healing. What do you mean by quantum healing?
Yeah, well, quantum healing, quantum training, the concept is this. First, I'm bringing an awareness and a mindfulness to the session. I think I've mentioned this to you oftentimes. I have 2 meditations a day. One meditation is sat down to think of each one of you and what's happening within your own journey, and where I can get creative movement patterns that really resonate to create healing. That's one. The other concept is that by me setting an intention and helping you, bringing an awareness, and that alone, we know what that does, intention. But then additionally teaching you where those pinch points, those linchpins are in the human body, whether it's, let's say we'll talk about your left lower back, right? For example, left lower back. We have an upstream and downstream to each one of those joints that are oftentimes telling us a signal. And what ends up happening is there's this connectivity with the human body that can manifest a chain reaction. And so how do I pick up energy? How do I pick up emotion? Well, all of that is in posture. It's all in alignment. It's all in human movement. There are clues every time. So if someone is limping dramatically, the average person that something's hurting on that person. It just so happens that I can do that on a more micro level. And good biomechanists can do that. They can pick up subtlest of differences. And at first, I thought they were individual differences, but then there's like the standard deviation in the brain by observation that I can know there. It's just outside that norm. I need to address it, particularly when there is a pinch point or pain. So the idea of quantum healing or quantum training is to bring an awareness to the self. I'll say it this way. It's very normal to step on a yoga mat and bring a mindfulness to your mat. Although I struggled with that for many, many years because I'm always in observation of the world and people. Ooh, that person's back hurts, that shoulder, that neck hurts, that person's quite emotional. Like you can feel into the frequency of the room. But we can bring a mindfulness. Once I was able to do that, a mindfulness to just about everything we do. But we go into a strength and conditioning or a movement practice and we don't necessarily do that. Somehow we bring in grind mentality, and there is challenge, you know that. But there is a grind mentality where we do this mental switch, like here I am putting myself through some pain and discomfort, and that's where it ends, as opposed to going, okay, I'm opening energy and inviting the flow and listening to the connections that he's telling me I'm needing to make between the right big toe and my left shoulder, that where I have a pinch point that could open up both flow of energy, decrease of pain, and opening up the fascial lines in the human body.
And where do emotions come into this? Do you work with emotions as well as physical?
Yeah, the emotions are an integral part of everything. I learned early in my career, and I started working as a trainer as 18 in a commercial gym. I was still working in college, but I walked into a facility. Hey, I'd like to put in some hours. They asked me a few questions quickly. Says, you're clearly on a journey. You're hired. Let's just get you a small certification so that you can do that. So I started to observe people when they come into the workout carrying more than they have. And I've always had that kind of sense. There's a high empath that you would probably throw into the contest. I could feel other people's emotions. And having that understanding made me start to adjust the concept of what they needed to do in that moment. So I tell this to many of my clients. In my mind, I have a plan. But I have A through Z ready to go. I have A, what I want to do if everything is going great, and B through Z in case things are not going the right way. So when we start thinking about emotions, we know that the human body holds those both in the organ systems and through our fascia, particularly our fascia. And high fascial areas of the body, upper trapezius, the area on the neck, the low back, and the hips have this deep fascial connection. And so when we have something like stress, when I use quotation fingers, because that's the most basic concept, it's going to impact how we hold our body and how we move. Now, on a deeper level, the hypothalamus is the emotional center of the body, and every emotion that we are feeling is conveyed to the organ systems of the body via the vagus nerve. And so I learned early on too, if those emotional states that they're having, different organ systems, digestion, liver, sort of toxicity, or the weight on the liver was starting to be affected. And so I could impact the body in the opposite way because I know where those nerves innervate. If you're having left arm pain, for example, or left chest and left arm pain, we know where something is going on with your heart. That might be angina, but on a significant level, we know that that's going to be impacted. And that's happening sometimes on a micro level with people, and they're not even feeling into that. So understanding that quantum training is about bringing a mindfulness to movement pattern and both evaluating the musculoskeletal system, the nervous system, how it integrates with muscles, fascia, and the organs. And having a movement practice that is in harmony to ease and move that energy around. There's that Taurus, right? Move that energy around creates an abundance of energy. And that's what I see in my clients in short periods of time. Like if they have trust, we can create this movement real quick and then we're off to the races. Like, what do you really want to do? What really excites you?